Alrighty, well, welcome back to another interview with the one and the only Bears Workshop. Bears Workshop is by far one of the biggest reasons that I am so bullish on Lucid, the stock, as well as the company, because we actually get boots on the ground and we're able to see what's going on with the company. And we kind of get a little bit of a logistical view about how the production is going, what's our production rate, and everything like that. So welcome and thank you again for taking time on New Year's Eve to come out here. Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year, and it's a pleasure being here.
Cool. All right, so just want to double check if there's any issues with the audio, just let me know, but we're just going to jump right into it. So I've been getting a lot of questions, the difference between Lucid's production goal and their delivery goal. Do you think that they're going to hit their production goal, and then do you think they're going to be able to hit their delivery goal?
I'm reasonably sure that they'll hit the production goal. As far as the delivery goes, I mean, that's kind of out of our hands as far as our eyesight. It's very difficult to know what's going on with the logistics behind getting vehicles actually delivered. This is kind of like the time of year where people are not around. I'm hearing some background noise.
Yeah.
I'm turned on. Okay, so it's and whatever that noise was, it says, "Where are they now? Where are those cars now? Are they being delivered?" You've got people taking vacations this time of year. You got people out of town. You'll also have vehicles that don't get delivered because people couldn't get their financing. They couldn't get their money right. And things come up from when they ordered it until when they're actually going to show up, and there can be cancellations. So I think a 520 delivery goal is very hard to do no matter what, unless you're going to be producing 1,000 cars or 700 cars. You need to produce more because you don't know how many you're actually going to get delivered, because you have to get them. You've got to get them on a truck. You got to move them across the country. You've got to get in touch with the customer. They've got to have their financing, and then you've got to set up a day for delivery, and they have to be available. So, and there's probably more steps to that can reasonably stop a delivery from happening. So, if they had set a delivery goal of 520, I don't think that they could have achieved it without overproducing the vehicles, because you just don't know the other factors that are involved.
Yeah, that makes sense. From what I've been seeing from their Twitter posts, it looks like they're kind of working from East Coast to West Coast. Looks like they started, like I said, on the East Coast, and they're slowly starting to work their way over. Are you seeing that too, or are they kind of just getting them out as soon as they can?
I haven't looked at that, but if they did, I would find that unusual. I think you produce the cars by the way you can produce them, not by their destination.
Okay.
You do have to cluster them up, where if you're putting 6 on a car hauler, you do need to make 6 that go in a certain area. But I also feel like that's why we're seeing cars sitting in the waiting areas, because they need to be shipped out in a group. You're not going to put one car on a hauler and go. So they're waiting for that particular truck that's going in that particular direction to go out.
It seems like a nightmare having to coordinate all of that, but hopefully they're getting paid the big bucks to do that.
Yeah.
And then, cool. So then in your last video, we saw an unwrapped car. Normally they're always wrapped and things like that. And I've been getting a ton of questions regarding, was that a Grand Touring or was that a Dream Edition with a different kind of caps? Like, different kind of wheels? What were we looking at there? What do you think?
I'm not sure what we were looking at. I know it looked a little bit different, but it could have just been the angle, or it could have been a Grand Touring. I didn't look at it that deeply. When we saw it, we were looking at it, and then we saw another car off to the right, and then I started focusing on the car that we missed, because when we were flying, we didn't see that car, so it kind of took our focus off of that. And then a lot of people started commenting that it looked like a Grand Touring. I never got a chance to go back and compare it to what it's going to look like. I know the Pures are going to be easy to identify because they don't have the glass top. But yeah, the rims are clearly going to help us identify cars that even have a wrap, because we can see the wheels sticking out of them. So it's definitely something that when we got the zoom, we're like, we got to zoom in and we got to look at these wheels, because it's going to help us.
Yeah, that was. I know that Tesla sometimes uses old models just around the factory, they're just easy cars to use. I don't know if that was like, maybe they just like an old security car. I have no idea, but that was definitely a big eye catcher to see that, because the ramping up. I mean, they got to go from 520 to 20,000. That's a huge jump.
Yeah,
in production.
It is. We've heard that they are hiring for a third shift. If they don't already have it going, they still have positions open for the third shift. So I think that they can do it as long as the materials that they need come in. So they've got a production line running, and that production line is capable, from what I was told, of 10 jobs per hour. 13 would be max, but they're shooting for 10, and that they're only doing 5. And my understanding of that is, if there's stops in the line, stops for any reason, then it's going to take out how many cars you're going to be able to do. If you can do 5 an hour, then in theory you're doing almost 100 per day if you got 3 shifts going. But the third shift, if it's running, is not going to be doing 5, and every time you stop, then you're taking away from that production. I'm not fully versed on how it's going. These are just things that I picked up from someone on the inside of the car industry. But 5 jobs an hour to me is pretty good. The only thing that's going to slow them down, I think, is a supply issue. There did seem like 2 weeks ago there was between 2 flights, it seemed like there was no new cars in the parking lot, and got a little concerned. And then when we came back for our next flight, then there was a whole lot more cars in the parking lot. So as long as they can keep the production line running, I believe that they're going at about 5 per hour. But I've also been told that they're doing probably about 13 is a day is what they're actually doing. So if they could get things going right, then you got to just 5 per hour, do the math, and that's where we'd end up. I think somebody did it, and it was still low, but this is the beginning of the ramp.
Yeah, we need to be at 54 cars a day to hit 20,000, 365 days a year to hit it next year. So we're starting to get there. What are your thoughts? Why are we seeing so many cars sitting there? If the demand is so high and people really want their cars, why are we seeing so many cars sitting there? Are they waiting on a part? Is it just logistical? Is there a trucking shortage? What do you think?
I don't think that any of those cars are waiting for parts. I don't think that's the way that they would do it right now. I think it's just logistics and trucking. Getting them shipped across the country into where they need to go. That's my belief. It's not really based on anything. It's just based on the fact that those cars look done. I haven't seen anybody working on them. We haven't seen anything except they park the cars, they leave them there, and they box a lot of those cars in. So it's not like they can take them out and bring them back in easily. If you have a car that's missing a part and it's just a couple of cars, you'd probably leave them somewhere inside the factory, because we've seen like groups of cars just like suddenly gather in one section of that parking lot, and they sit there, and another group starts, and the next thing you know, that group is starting to be taken away. So it just seems like the normal process. I mean, obviously you could fly over Tesla in Shanghai and you could see, I think it was 500-600 cars at a time sitting there. It's a matter of getting the trucks here and getting them out. I know there's a smaller scale, but they're also ramping everything up.
Yeah, I have one of my main guys here, Matthew, said, when I worked at Tesla, the hardest thing was trying to get the cars delivered. It's a multiple step process. So logistically trying to get like, okay, we have these 6 cars, they're going to this part, like we need to get, like, that would just be a nightmare.
It's got to be, because it's like you have to track every one of those cars. You have to know where they're at. When that car hauler shows up and says, well, I'm here for my cars, and they got a list of 6 cars, you now have to find those 6 cars. So there has to be someone in charge of putting those cars into certain spots so that they know where they're at. I mean,
and then notifying the customers, and they do those in-person deliveries too. Like, that's just as hard to coordinate people's schedules.
Yes.
That'd be a nightmare. So I have a couple more questions here. So I saw that you tweeted it, but would you like to say when your next flyover is going to be?
Yes, we are not flying today because of the new year, and there's also some inclement weather going on. We've got thunderstorms and rain that's in the area. McKay will attest to that. So
love it.
We just figured it would be best to fly tomorrow. And since the last time we did a Saturday flyover on Christmas, it was pretty well received also. So we're going to get out there tomorrow. We are going to get a screenshot. We are going to go down to Lucid today, pop up in the air, get a couple of quick pictures, and we'll end up putting them on Twitter. So we'll have a car count for today. We'd like to see what they're at the end of the year. I think today's an important day to get a car count. Did you see the video we got of the car just being birthed out of the building.
Yeah, that was so
Yeah,
cool going down the little canal, the birthing canal.
yeah, I call it the birthing
Funny
canal.
terms, but yeah, I thought that was super cool that you guys would do that. And just want to give a quick plug for Bear's Workshop. If you guys haven't already and you want to support Bear, he has a Patreon, and it really helps him get out there and be able to produce the kind of content that we all love to see. So if you want to support him, go check out his channel, check out his Patreon there, and join me in the list of Patreons.
I would appreciate any help. I don't know if you saw this, but we're going to start. We've started a thing where if we can get 80 Patreons, we're going to start flying on Mondays on a regular basis, and then if we can get to 150, we're going to start flying on Thursdays on a regular basis, and then we'll figure out Tuesdays further down the road. But I think what we're going to do for this Monday is if we can get 10 more Patrons before Monday's flyover, we will fly Lucid on Monday. So we're just looking for 10 more before Monday, and we'll fly this Monday. And if we have to do that every Monday in order to get to the 80, then we'll end up flying every Monday. So
you guys heard him. 10 more, and we'll get another flyover on Monday. And let's see if there's any other questions here. Rumor that 2020 productions have been finished. That would be fantastic. If I make it big on Lucid, I assume you're meaning the stock, Matthew. I'll give Bear a big donation. I'm sure he'd appreciate that.
yeah, of course.
Welcome, everybody. So what are your people are asking? Have you talked to any more people on the ground, like security guards there? Have you gotten any other word about that?
No, we haven't. We've the only interactions we've had is occasionally they'll come out and they'll park 200 feet from us and just stare at us. But they're no longer talking to us, and that literally stopped the day that because they were coming out every single day. They would talk to us. We're flying, and you got to keep your eyes on what you're doing because it's a safety issue. So they were always pleasant, except for one guy. All of them were pleasant guys, and I got no complaints about talking to them. They're just doing their job. And so in one video, and this was months ago, we said, the only time they'll talk to us is they're going to talk to us while we're flying, and they're so worried about safety, and that's why they don't want us to fly. But they're going to talk to us while we're flying, and they never came and talked to us again. So they are watching the videos. I know they're watching the videos because I've been told by people inside that there's a guy that has to watch every video to make sure that that we didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, that definitely does. That's kind of counterintuitive. So, yeah, everybody's just saying thank you, Bear, and thank you for all the information. So again, thank you for that. And then so now that today's the last day for production for 2021, they're going to have to report their first big boy number.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably going to affect their stock. And I know that you keep up with their stock. What do you think, what's your best guess, production and deliveries for 2021?
I think the production is going to be substantially less than the deliveries. I'm sorry, production is going to be substantially more than the deliveries. It is a guess, but I'm willing to go with the production is going to be several hundred over that 520. I think that they've done it just from the amount of cars that we've seen go by visually. And like I've said before, we're only there on Wednesdays and Fridays. And to see the amount of cars and what we think are different cars coming in and then going out, I think there'll be several hundred over. I think I think one way or another they'll make the production goal or delivery goal. And I think the delivery goal is actually 577. And the production for the Dreams was 520. So they have to make some of the other models according to what they're saying. So I think one way or another they're going to figure out how to get to these deliveries. I would like to think that they would. It would be. There's a reason why they put out that number, and I'm sure that they sat around and said, "Are we going to be able to do this?" And they know the consequences of not being able to do it. There's so much FUD out there that I think they have to.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, I listened to Rivian's earnings call, and one of the very first things they said is, hey, we're not going to hit deliveries, so don't get your expectations too high. And I think Lucid's had multiple opportunities if they weren't going to hit production or deliveries to say, hey, we're going to miss it. Because we saw Peter Rawlinson do that this summer. He was like, hey, we're not starting production. Like, we're not where we want to be, so we're pushing our deadline back. I think I'm of the mindset that he'd rather push a deadline back than miss, right? I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, I agree. I think he probably would come out and say we're not going to make it before. And then I 100% would say that they'll blame supply issues if they don't make it.
Yeah, they already said that. I said that on my spreadsheet. I said one of the biggest things I'm listening to is how concerned are they about supply issues, and they said that for the 2022, like they're on pace, but the issue with supply constraints could hold them up worse. So that's just something we'll keep a look at, and yeah. So let's see what the comments are saying. Matthew said, "That's it. I'm signing up my grandma for Bears Patreon." So it looks like you got another Patreon member. We have. Everybody's laughing at the security stories. Jason said, "Barry, put your old drone on the security guys as close as you can while you're just there to be funny." Just follow them around. That'd be funny. Everybody's super excited to see the deliveries, and sounds like Jason said if they were going to miss deliveries, they might as well just say it and rip off the Band-Aid than do it at like the earnings call, which I probably agree with. Cool. And then, so when do you think we're going to start to see Gravity roll out?
It's not going to be this year or next year. Tomorrow I'll say it won't be this year.
Okay.
The building is going to be done, supposed to be done at the end of 2022. So I don't see them actually getting any type of production out of there in 2022. If they do, they're great. But they've got a lot of work to do. And they're hiring multiple contractors to do the same job and giving them different areas of the project so that they can get I know that they're doing that for the steel, and that way they can get the steel done quicker, because it's just too much work for one steel contractor to put up all that steel. But that first section it's supposed to be up, all the steel is going to be up and the decking is going to be done by May 1st, and that's a lot. And then that company, I think, is going to then move over to another area on the north side, which they're still grading. So in that time, they have to put in the caissons or whatever type of foundation they're going to be using over there. I'm assuming that they're going to do the same thing and use caissons. And then another steel company is coming in, and they'll be in shortly, probably within the next few weeks, for working on that building in the south, which I still don't know what it is. But that was added to the site as an additional building that's not part of the original site plans that I have. Still waiting on the town of Casa Grande to email me back some plans. So
cool. When do you think we'll hear about their deliveries? I know some people think that Peter Rawlinson has an interview either the 6th or the 8th. Some people think he'll say it then. When do you think that they're going to announce their deliveries?
To be honest with you, I don't know. They're a pretty standard, straightforward company. And they're probably going to announce when they're going to announce it and not do any type of surprises. They don't seem to have much of a sense of humor. So
okay, yeah, like we were talking before we went live, they put that tweet out there. I can't remember what they said. It was like I can't remember. You guys are gonna have to go look. Lucid put it like a 2021 interview for all of everything they went through this year. Have you talked to Warren Rudlick at all since you guys' last interview?
No, I haven't. I mean, he's commented on, or he's liked and retweeted one or two things on Twitter, but that's it. But yeah, I'd like to hear from him. But he's still not admitting that he's wrong. So it's
What did you find with that whole charging situation?
I was not able to. I was going to go over and take my Tesla and see how many kilowatts I got, but I went out there with a pretty low battery with the intention of charging, and realized that the adapter I had was not correct. So, and then when I looked it up, the adapter was like $600. I'm like, this is not worth it.
Yeah. Everybody's just laughing because Warren says they're just moving dirt around, which obviously they're moving dirt and steel around, which is a little bit of a different story. I think.
Yeah. That was the one thing that really bothered me. I know he's full of FUD, and that's his thing. He says he hasn't sold Lucid short, but he acts that way. But it's almost like he's looking for a conspiracy theory. But it did bother me when he retweeted an image from Bear's Workshop without the watermark, and puts it out there and says, looks like they're just moving dirt around. And unless he's just doing a crappy job of like actually investigating things, he could have watched one video and he's going to know that they put in 1,500 caissons that are 20 feet deep into the ground, and that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of work. So he just put that out there for views, and then he made a whole video on it. Just
Yeah, it's definitely an easy way to get clicks, but I was reading the comments and it's just a different audience because most people agree with him in his comment section, which you kind of cater to your audience, I guess. Sammy says Warren just needs a hug.
yeah,
Maybe we need to send Peter to give him a hug. Peter Robinson.
I don't think he would take it from Peter, but I'm sure he'd take it from somebody. I'm sure there's someone out there in YouTube that he'd be like, all right.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. All right, I'm just seeing if anybody has any other questions here. What do you think? Like I said, you mainly focus on boots on the ground, and I kind of focus a lot on the market. Do you have any concepts of what would happen if they were to miss deliveries? What that would look like? That's one of the questions here.
Well, I think it'd be very disappointing for everybody, especially investors. You're going to see the stock price obviously is going to go down, but I think it will recover. But it also is going to depend on what their reasoning is. If it, it's right now, every company can get away with saying it's supply issues, no matter what it is. They'd be like, well, they fell on their face and didn't know what to do. But oh yeah, it was supply issues. That's the go-to thing, So I think that's what they're going to do, and then the stock will rebound, and I think that they'll be able to ramp up. They've got qualified people there, so they'll be able to ramp this up and keep it going. I think the most important thing is going to be how many orders they get, since these cars are built on demand, as opposed to just filling up dealerships' parking lots. That's what you have to have. You got to have the orders, and Rivian has more orders. Tesla obviously has more orders, but you're not going to see those level of orders at the prices that they're at right now. They need to get the less expensive stuff out there, and then the orders are going to fly in.
I agree. Last we heard they had 17,000 reservations. If you were just to throw a dart at a dartboard, how many reservations do you think they'll have when they announce their earnings?
Well, we don't know when that's going to be announced. I'm going to say a couple thousand more, and if they make their production, it's going to help with their reservations. If they don't make their production and deliveries, if they don't make it, it's just not going to help. The orders will still continue to trickle in, and I say trickle in. I know that a couple hundred a day is more than a trickle, but when you're comparing it to a manufacturer that's established, it's not a lot of cars. So if we can keep seeing that they have more orders, a backlog of orders, that's great. The thing that concerns me is if they do ramp up to the point where they can put out 5,000 cars a month, you're going to quickly run out of orders. So that's why they need to get these other cars out there, the less expensive ones, so that people start ordering them, people start seeing them on the street.
Okay. Yeah, I as long as we have over 20,000 reservations, I honestly don't really I care, but I won't be worried. If they have anything over the 20,000, I'll be fine. Let me read the comments really quick. Matthew wants to know why not invest more into Lucid if you're there in person.
Right now I'm tied up a little bit with Nikola because I think Nikola's probably going to go back up. This is just my lack of experience investing. Lucid or Nikola has been trading between 10 and 15 all year since it dropped off. So I've got a bunch of money in Nikola right now that is literally at about $10 a share. So I'm waiting for it to pop a little bit, and then I'll probably start moving some money around, and hopefully I don't miss the boat on Lucid.
Yeah, hopefully not. I'm trying to see what else. Somebody said, if Lucid's deliveries fail, Warren and Tesla fanboys will tweet a lot and create FUD videos, which will increase Tesla's stock price. More Lucid shares for me to buy. And I guess I don't know. I'll talk about that in a different time. But yeah, that's pretty much it from my end. Do you have anything that you would like to say to all the stock viewers as well as your video viewers, I'm sure, are here?
Well, thanks for coming in and watching the video. I do appreciate that. If anyone does have any questions for me, you can find me on Twitter at Bears Workshop. Feel free to tag me in a post or reach out to me through a direct message. I'll answer it if I can. I just want to keep some eyes on the ground so that we can see what's going on, so that people stay informed, despite the fact that Lucid doesn't want us there. But we all know that's another story for another time. So yeah, thanks for watching.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you coming on, Bear. It's been a pleasure. Happy New Year. Stay safe out there and go Lucid.
All right. Thank you, McKay. We'll see you next time.
Have a good one.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye-bye.